Hello, and welcome back to the SIMZ Serotonin podcast, where we encourage you to action your 3Gs to grow, glow, and go after your goals, your passions, and your dreams. Today, we're in the city of Bath, and we have a wonderful guest to talk all about this. So I'm going to hand over to Charlotte to introduce herself. Charlotte, tell us who you truly are, and how do you really feel today?
Oh, who I truly am. Okay, firstly, I'm Charlotte. My brand is called Charlotte Calisthenics. And I started this in 2024. So who I was back in the day, I was this shy girl who suffered a lot with imposter syndrome, didn't really have a community of people, and I was kind of sick of being in that loop. So I thought, okay, I want to find a hobby where I kind of tick all those boxes. So I was scrolling on Instagram one day and I saw this girl doing this sport. And usually I'd only see guys doing this sport, so, it's kind of, I wouldn't identify myself with them and I kind of would scroll past. But here, seeing a girl doing it, I thought, okay, let me try this out.
Yeah.
Didn't know what it was at the start. And so I thought I wanted to hold myself accountable with this sport. And so I started an Instagram channel called Charlotte Calisthenics. And so I started learning the L-sit, which is this movement where you hold yourself up with your legs kind of perpendicular to you, and the handstand as well. So those are my first two goals. And as I started filming, I'd post every day my progress. It was like day 1 of 30, day 2 of 30, etc. And at the end of the 30 days, I got my handstand, I got my L-sit, and obviously that was all fun and games, but it was kind of the journey of getting there that really changed me as a person and influenced my now followers to start as well. So that's kind of the overview of how it all started.
Yeah. 30 days only, really?
Well,
that's so impressive.
Disclaimer, you can't just train for 30 days and get a handstand. You kind of need to have a sporting background if you want to get it that quickly. Mm-hmm. But if you do train with skills like handstands, if you do train it consistently, literally every single day at the start, you can get it a lot quicker than people think. It's just people think, okay, I'm only going to train it twice a week, and your brain literally needs to understand the movement by doing it every single day.
Yeah.
But no, I did have a gym background.
She's a gym girly.
I was a gym girly, got bored, got into calisthenics. Just as a background of what calisthenics actually is, because I'm aware some people don't really know what it is.
I struggle myself. I literally had to ask Charlotte to correct how I pronounce it before we started, so...
No, literally everyone does, so it's all good. So it's calisthenics, and it comes from the Greek words kalos, thenos, which mean beauty and strength. So it's kind of like an elegant strength training, as you could see it as. So I see it as if gymnastics and gym training had a baby, you'd have calisthenics.
Okay. Nice analogy.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of the best way to remember it, but obviously saying it doesn't really matter. So that's kind of how it all started.
And so with your whole brand and business, it's called Swan Fit. What's the inspiration behind the name Swan Fit? What made you think of that?
Okay. Honestly, most of my ideas come from my dreams. I don't know if you're the same. I kind of go to sleep thinking about ideas, and then your brain kind of consolidates them in your sleep, I guess.
Like J.K. Rowling with Harry Potter. It was a dream, apparently.
Was it?
Yeah.
There we go. But basically, how I mentioned it's strength and beauty and strength?
Yeah.
I've always seen the swan as an embodiment of that. So it's very elegant and graceful above the water, but below the water it's paddling really rapidly, not struggling as such, but working hard to keep it afloat. And I've also got a swan tattoo.
Yes, I was waiting for you to show them.
My only tattoo. And it has kind of deeper meanings associated with it as well. But yeah, with my brand, I think it kind of worked well with what I see calisthenics as. And also, with brands like Gymshark, or I don't know if you're aware of Gore Nation, which is kind of the calisthenics Gymshark equivalent. This
perfect.
they're very male oriented. It's very, Gore Nation is to do with, is gorilla nation. Gymshark is Gymshark.
I see a trend with animals here.
Yeah, there's a trend of animals, and also those animals are quite aggressive, quite, bulky, very male oriented. Whereas I wanted it to be a bit more feminine, a bit more elegant, and so I thought this one embodied that.
I love that. And on Gore Nation, actually, do you know if they've started to incorporate women and femininity more into to their work and what they do? Like, do you see an up and coming trend in terms of involving women in the community?
Yeah, definitely. They've actually recently started like a female wear,
nice.
which they never had before. I think they're just trying to follow what the trends are on social media, and now it's very much.
They should hire you as an ambassador.
They have.
Oh my god, really? Oh my god,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Sorry, I didn't know that. Wow.
No, I'm sponsored by Gore Nation, so.
Tell us more about that. How'd that work? How did you feel when that happened?
I think it's always nice to be sponsored by a bigger brand because it kind of makes other people trust you and see you as a reliable individual, not just kind of someone who trains by themselves. And it makes you part of a larger community as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, there weren't that many girls who were sponsored back in the day, so it's quite nice that they're including more women as well. And yeah, no, it felt great because, it's when you start a page, you firstly don't expect it to grow to thousands and thousands of followers, but when you start getting recognition from those sorts of brands, you're like, okay, like, it's kind of a little well done for what you've done.
You should be so proud. That's so good.
Thank you.
Like, was there a certain post that you think got them to approach you, or?
Was there that? Honestly, I can't remember. It was quite a while ago. I think it's just when your posts start gaining traction, and gaining more views, then large influencers start to see them.
Yeah, that's great.
So yeah,
very well deserved.
Oh, thanks.
And Charlotte, I'd love to hear what's been your biggest challenge throughout this whole journey, and especially like building your own brand, posting online. You have to be like, it takes vulnerability to do that, right? And it involves like failing at certain times until you get to the stage that you are now. What would you say maybe are some like lessons you learned along the way? Takeaways.
Honestly, I feel like I've grown the most from posting on social media. As I said, I started off very, very shy, like completely different to how I am today, which I'm so grateful for, because I think it's so easy to stay stuck in that sort of imposter syndrome mindset of, other people can do it, but I can't. But if you flip that and go, other people can do it, there's literally no reason why I can't. So...
Ignore that,
all
sorry.
I'm
getting Teams notifications.
All good. So yeah, firstly, posting when you have 0 followers is the most humbling thing ever, because, even your friends are like, what are you doing? Or people from school, they're like, sending it to each other. So you've kind of got to humble yourself and realise, okay, it's what I want. It doesn't matter what other people think. And the more you do it, the more you stop caring, because there's only so much they can say. And, they can call you embarrassing, they can call you cringe. But if it's getting money in the bank, inspiring others, developing new skills, developing you as a person, like all of this, at the end of the day, it is just jealousy speaking. I know people say that and it sounds cringe, but
it's true.
Your biggest haters are the people who are jealous of you. So
they want to be you.
They want to be you guys. So honestly, like, zoom out for a second and realise whatever you're doing, if it's not hurting anyone and it's actually benefiting more than anything, it is worth doing. Let me unsponsor this for a second.
Let's go real.
Yeah, so obviously the filming was tough at the start. I honestly would have to... I would film like 7 days of content and then post it, because otherwise I'd post it, it would get 10 likes, and I'd not want to continue posting. Whereas if I had the content pre-prepared, I'd be like, right, well, I'll have to post it now. And it was honestly like I had to breathe through it and be like, okay, 3, 2, 1, press post. And it just gets easier, like with anything. And then the actual training was really, really intense. Honestly, I cried most days, because you feel like you're not progressing at all, especially with the handstand. People learn so differently. I had never done gymnastics or anything, cheerleading or anything of that sort. so my brain just didn't understand what it was like to be upside down. And so you kind of keep doing the same thing. And this was like a life lesson that I now apply to everything else. And it's, you can be consistent with something, but if you're not iterating and tweaking what you're failing at, you're not really going to get better. Like, it's still great to be consistent, but it's not going to change anything. So I would rewatch my videos and be like, okay, what's not working? Is it my shoulders that aren't being protracted enough? Is it my wrists that are hurting too much?
Cool. I like that, like using your videos to give yourself feedback.
Yeah, that's kind of the initial reason why people film. It's kind of to be able to watch themselves back if they don't have a PT. But yeah, kind of iterating, okay, taking notes, making sure to warm up, because I got really badly injured when I was first training for a muscle up, which is like a pull up and then you go over the bar. I just wouldn't warm up because I was just too excited to get started, I guess. And then I pulled something in my back, and then it set me back quite a lot because I had to get it sorted with an osteopath. But biggest lesson, warm up and just keep learning from your mistakes rather than just doing the same thing day in, day out. So yeah, once I got my handstand, I was on a high for about 2 days. But this also taught me a lesson. It's that when you reach a high or when you reach a low, you eventually do go back to that baseline quite quickly. So as much as I was looking forward to getting that handstand, it really was the journey that I had to enjoy. Like, if I hated the journey, it would have almost not been worth it. So I think that applies to everything. You know, you want to finish uni and get a first, but once you get that first, you'll get a high for, you know, maybe a month, and then you're like, okay, now what? Now what's the next thing? So you're always looking for the next thing, which is human nature, because we just want to, you know, keep achieving. But I think it's really important to A, enjoy the journey, and B, kind of step back and be able to appreciate how hard you've worked to get to that thing. Because now sometimes I have sessions where I'll get a handstand and like hold it for 45 seconds, and I'll kick myself because I'm not holding it for a minute. And so it's really important to kind of go back, even like watching videos of back in the day when I couldn't even get up into a handstand. So I think the lessons I've learned through learning each individual skill has really, really been applicable to real life, and kind of, yeah, the resilience, the gratitude, the just looking back to where you started, really. And this kind of kick-started another journey where I wanted to kind of expand my network of friends or just people I knew, just to get different perspectives, and also, yeah, just make new friends, really. So when I started... So I first started by myself, training outside. It was summer, it was lovely. And then I thought, okay, there must be other people who do this. And I started reaching out to people, and there were a few different events going on in London. And so, you know, you turn up by yourself. I remember the first time I went to one of these events, I was so scared. I literally told my mum, like, no, I'm not going to go. And she drove me to the station, she was like, you're going. And it's go, just Mom. So, yes, go Mum. It's just so anxiety inducing when you've still got that imposter syndrome in you. You're like, okay, I've only just started this sport a couple months ago. Everyone else is going to be so much better than me. Like these thoughts that everyone has. But it's your brain protecting you, I guess. But really, you don't need to be protected, that you're not being chased down by a bear or anything. You're actually just going to be talking to new people. But your brain doesn't know the difference, so you can't really blame it.
Psychology student as well, so...
And so, yeah, I went to that first event, and I did, because it was so beneficial. It honestly changed the entire trajectory of that year, and I guess my life. Like, the butterfly effect is so real. Like, go out, like, leave your room is all I've got to say, because that's the best place to, you know, pick up on new opportunities and meet new people. So I went to this event. It wasn't just calisthenics, it was kind of a gym in general, but in the queue, I started talking to this girl who a year and a bit later, is now one of my best friends. She introduced me to different sports and different hobbies like pole dancing, bachata, which is a dance.
She introduced you to bachata? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
the next day I went to bachata, my first ever bachata session.
So you didn't start at uni?
Bachata? No. I started it on my placement year, so around August.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I literally think if I hadn't gotten the train at that time and hadn't got in the queue at that time and stood next to her, because there were so many people at that event, I might have never bumped into her, never started that sport, never. There's just so much that has come from all of that.
What's her name?
Lily.
Lily. Shout out Lily.
We love you, Lily. And once I got into the venue, I saw this girl who was stood by herself. She looked quite shy. And I thought, let me go up to her and see if she's okay, if she wants to train with someone, because I know exactly how she's feeling. So this girl's called Sophie Reed. I started talking to her and we became friends. We then would text on Instagram. And she kind of had similar goals to me. She wasn't really Cali oriented, but more just gym. But yeah, so with Sophie, this is where I realised how important it was to speak to strangers, because there's so many opportunities that come from it. And that leads on to a different thing that I'll touch on later. But a year after I spoke to Sophie, she messaged me on Instagram saying, I've got this event, do you want to come? Turns out Sophie was grinding that year and ended up being a Gymshark athlete.
Wow.
Through this Gymshark 66 competition. And she invited me as a VIP guest.
Yeah.
So I ended up in this room surrounded by every single Gymshark athlete and the CEO himself.
Really?
Yeah. Like, honestly, when she invited me, I just thought I'd get in quicker. Not that I'd be with the athletes. It was honestly the most insane thing I've done in my life.
Wow.
And just seeing the CEO just chit-chatting, playing cards with David Lade. If any of you are sporty people, you will know David Lade. Sam Sulek, the twins. Honestly, it was just mind-blowing. And just realising, once again, they're just like you and I. But they wanted something and went for it.
Mm-hmm.
And they've also got their own issues. Nobody's like perfect. Nobody's super happy with everything in life. So just having those kind of down-to-earth conversations with these people who everyone else deems celebrities and god and goddesses almost, was also really humbling, because you realise we are just all the same. We just, go for different things in life. So yeah, that was an insane opportunity, and I was really, really grateful to Sophie. But once again, if I had never approached her, we would have never become friends, and I never would have ended up at this event. And kind of tangenting on from lessons learned. So I started speaking to a stranger a day. And alongside this, I was at my placement. It was like a marketing placement, not really related to what I study, but it was fun. And I got asked to do a presentation about our quarter. And I felt prepared, got up on stage after my colleagues, and my brain just blanked. Like, literally not a single thought beyond the eyes. There were about 50 people in the crowd, more than I had ever spoken to.
Wow.
And when you literally feel like your throat is closing up and you want the ground to like I'd heard that expression before, wanting the ground to swallow you up, but I didn't know what it meant. But I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, I continued the speech as best as I could, but I left sobbing because I just thought I'd embarrass myself. When you feel like you can do so much better. And yeah, embarrassing yourself is not a nice feeling. Embarrassing yourself on social media is one thing, but in real life it's
that's a good point, actually.
Yeah. I think you kind of distance yourself when there's a screen there, but when it's in real life it is almost quite a bit harder. So after that, with all the lessons I'd learned from calisthenics over that year, I thought, okay, this is awful. I'm like not happy at all. What am I going to do to iterate and change that? So I promised myself that once I restart uni, I would do a TED talk. So from 0 to 100, just like throw myself out there. And all these same feelings of imposter syndrome of why would someone want to listen to me? Why would I get through and not anyone else? Popped up. But I thought, okay, let me just write the script. Let me submit my application and just go for it. And I'm so grateful I did, because in the end I got chosen, and I'll be doing a TED talk very soon.
Woohoo! Get your tickets for Bath TEDx 2026 to see Charlotte speak.
I'll be speaking about all of this.
Yes.
And more, but yeah, obviously very, very scared, but I know that it's just an extra step after what I've already done. So yeah, those are kind of the main lessons I've learned, but I think the community aspect is one of the most important things, because it's so easy to be in your head about everything and overthink it until, like, literally overthink it to death. Once you start talking to other people who, like, the right other people, right? The people who uplift you, not people who are constantly questioning it and being like, doubting you. You start to realise that your dreams that sound crazy actually are pretty feasible, pretty doable. And the limits you set yourself are literally just that. They're literally just limits that you've set yourself that don't exist. So yeah, I think it's super, super important to be surrounded by other people who think like you, or who think like who ideal you thinks like, if that makes sense. Because I think nowadays everyone is very much about like lock-in, lone wolf, I don't even know what else they call it, very much you work by yourself, you don't have any distractions. But the work hard, play hard is so, so important in my opinion. You need to have play in your life, otherwise what is the point? Even if, it's 80-20, you need to enjoy it. You're young, you want to work hard, but you still need to have those memories, and the people who you socialise with will uplift you and, kind of grow your social battery. I used to think I was very, very introverted. Even a year ago, I would say I was quite introverted. But then I realised that you're quite introverted around the wrong people. Like, people who drain you make you feel like you're introverted, right? But people who give you energy, kind of fill up your social battery, you then realise, oh, I'm actually more extroverted than I thought. It's just about who you're surrounding yourself with. And the more you touch in with who you actually are, and the more authentic you are, the more, like, the smoother those interactions go. And so it doesn't feel like as much effort. I know in the past I would try and put on this persona, and so you're almost acting, so of course it's going to be draining. So I think the importance of that social space isn't touched on enough nowadays, and it's more important than ever, not just texting on social media, but literally that face-to-face connection. It's super, super important.
I love that story. I literally got emotional at one point. I'm like, oh my god, like, I love this story so much. It's so inspiring, and I'm so, so proud of you for like where you've come today. And even like the fact that despite the fact that you didn't maybe do how you wanted to in that speech, you still told yourself, like, okay, back to that point on iteration, I'm not going to stop here. I'm going to push myself to apply for TEDx, which is huge. Like, TEDx, it's like the public speaking, like, that's the stage of public speaking, right? So you should be beyond proud of yourself.
Oh, thank you.
And on the point about what you were saying earlier, it's like not only the destination, but journey over destination, right? Celebrating wins along the way. How would you say that you celebrate wins today? Like, what's something you maybe do, aside from maybe looking back at old videos? Is there something you do to celebrate yourself, even if that's, like you said, the play aspect of hanging out with your friends? What do you do to really, like, honor yourself and how far you've come?
Oh, I still don't think I'm great at this. I still think I'm quite hard at myself, so it's so nice to like hear this encouragement. So
of course, girl, you deserve it.
But I would say something that I was really good at back in the day, and which I've started recently again, is journaling. And looking back at the journal entries I had from that time, where I'm struggling with not just calisthenics, but just personal life, like so much, mentally. And then rewriting a journal entry of, when I got my handstand, or just a day where I feel proud of myself. and kind of comparing those two and being like, that's the same person, and kind of realising that, yes, you will still have days that feel like back in the day, you know, where you just don't feel good at all, but realising that you will get back to that high point or your happy state. I think that's so important, because it's so easy to just get back into that rut otherwise. But yeah, to kind of celebrate those wins, it's mainly spending time with friends. Like, I love to dance, so dancing and just feeling free, or booking a holiday, like a little extended weekend, just kind of doing something to get that dopamine hit and then be like, okay, that's a reward for what you've just done. Yeah. It's so important to reward yourself, otherwise it literally feels like an endless climb. Or even posting it on LinkedIn, like anything where you kind of get it out of your head and onto paper, whether it's journaling, LinkedIn, telling your friends, getting it out into the open. So important. So I think those are the main ways I kind of celebrate my wins, with play, writing it out, and kind of comparing to where I was back in the day.
And speaking of all the other incredible things you do, like bachata, for example, what do you feel maybe is like a difference in what you get from bachata versus calisthenics? And yeah.
Oh, I've never actually thought about this.
And actually, sorry, before you answer, like, speaking of integrating different aspects of your life, how would you say, fun question, that you integrate like psychology and what you know about the world of psychology into the sports that you do?
Ooh.
I appreciate that was a lot. You can like tackle the answer how you like.
Let me think. Okay, so I'm going to separate the calisthenics versus bachata first, and then I'll do the psychology aspect. So, surprisingly enough, there's actually a lot of interweave, like within the Venn diagram, a lot of people sit between the two of calisthenics and bachata, and I think it's because the learning curve for both is very, very similar. You start off for the first, I would say, as a very beginner, like 3 months, just learning the basics and feeling like really, really bad, like just you make no progress really, and so you have those thoughts about giving up, etc. So I think it is those sorts of determined individuals, or individuals who really have a passion for sport, who tend to stick to both of those. And that's why I love making friends within both of those sports, because you kind of fish out those personalities. Yeah. So calisthenics is, as much as there's a community behind it, you do tend to train quite individually. Right, you don't need anyone else. It's great to have other people to kind of learn from. A lot of people specialise in certain skills, so I might specialise in handstands and L sets. Other people might specialise in planche and muscle ups. So it's really good to kind of learn from each other. There's never really any comparison or jealousy, since everyone's started at different times and specialise in their own thing. You can't really compare apples and pears like that. Whereas bachata, it's very similar to salsa, but it's side to side, a bit slower. The music is so good. If you just search up bachata on Spotify,
you'll want to dance already.
Yeah, you'll love it. I think they both really get me into the flow state, where all my other problems kind of disappear, because you've really, really got to focus on that individual sport. So for calisthenics, when you're upside down, if you're thinking about exam stress, you're going to fall, because you're not looking directly ahead of you. You're not focusing on, are my wrists in place? Am I breathing appropriately? There's a lot to think about, so there's not enough space to think about your problems. Yeah, so you really end up in the moment, which is really what I need, because I don't like meditation. I used to do it, but I feel like I can't focus. That might be something I need to work on, but it ends up being my meditation, really.
It's like escapism.
Yeah, I don't know, escapism is a tough one, because it feels like it's distracting you in a bad way.
Okay, fair.
Whereas here it feels like it's consolidating your thoughts in the back of your head, but not really...
You're not avoiding it.
Yeah, not necessarily avoiding it, but just kind of... I guess you could see it as avoiding it. But avoiding it in a good way, rather than via alcohol or drugs, or, like in a productive way.
You're giving yourself, like, your mind the time to reset, focus on something else.
Yeah.
Process.
I would say it literally is like meditation. You know, you're not avoiding your problems, but you kind of see them and you let them pass. You know, they tell you like it's like a little cloud, you just let it pass. So I think it's similar to that. With bachata, you dance in pairs, so it's obviously a lot more community focused. I guess you need other people. And for the woman in particular, or the follower, so there's a lead and a follower. The lead leads the follower, and so the follower doesn't really have to think about anything other than, okay, what is he making me do now? If they push your hand back, you put it around your waist. If they tilt your shoulder, you know to do a head spin. So it's very much, you learn certain cues and then you follow them, but they become kind of second nature. And honestly, there's never been a sport where I feel more zen afterwards. I feel literally euphoric after bachata.
Wow.
Yeah, it's because, you know, music does a lot to your brainwaves in itself. You have to breathe with the movements, right? You have to breathe in time with the beats, in time with the music, and so once again it's like meditation where you're forced to slowly breathe. Oftentimes you have to close your eyes so that you're not distracted and you just focus on where the leader is moving you. So honestly, like, there's no sport which I find more relaxing than that. And once again, you can have social link-ups where you have, you know, bachata parties, people invite you to your house and you'll just dance with different people. It's just, I didn't know it existed, but I wish everyone knew it existed, because even if you're awful at dance, I thought I was awful at dance and I was at the start. If you're dedicated to starting a dance, that would be the easiest one to start, because, you know, solo dancing, you've got a lot more to think about.
Yeah.
This sort of dance,
It's a team effort.
Yeah, it's a team effort, and it just flows a lot more easily.
Okay.
With the psychology POV, I think, I don't know if I embed psychology too much into it, other than, you know, knowing I need to reset mentally with these sports, and knowing that when I don't have time for this sort of play, mentally I'm not okay. So it's kind of understanding that, but also understanding the importance of training every day when you're starting, just to get into the habit. And also, I read this thing about handstands, it's called proprioception, and it's kind of your brain understanding where you are spatially. And that's with a lot of calisthenic sports, because you're in positions that your body is not used to you being in. And so, yeah, it's literally your brain trying to understand where your limbs are in comparison to the other ones. And if you're interested in all that, I'd recommend looking into it, because it's actually really, really interesting. So proprioception. That's more neuroscience. But I feel like I interweave psychology so much that I wouldn't even know where to start.
It's just
with
everywhere.
Yeah. How about you? Do you think
Cool. Into my life? Ooh. Well, this podcast is called SIMZ Serotonin. So I think in terms of the happy chemicals that we talk about in psychology, like oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin specifically, yes, like I live my life by thinking about how I can spread serotonin. And I was on a run with a friend yesterday, actually, and she asked me, like, why did you choose serotonin, not dopamine? And I said, well, first of all, the fact that it's with the letter S, like, it's an alliteration with my name. But also because serotonin is also about, like, relieving or alleviating anxiety. So I feel like it's a more sustainable, long-term kind of chemical. Yeah. Rather than dopamine, which is sometimes like, okay, short-term hits, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love dopamine, and like the dopamine that I get from so many activities, and like eating chocolate, for example. But yeah, I would say that's how I use psychology. And definitely, like, to your point of just knowing that your brain and your body literally need a break to recharge and to be your best self mentally, physically, is a great way to show how, like, psychology is so valuable, and that your degree's been useful.
It has. All the stress has been worth it.
Do you think going back you would still have chosen psychology as a degree?
Oh, this is a tough one, because I went through quite a lot of stress choosing what subjects I wanted to do. For A-levels I did maths, psychology, economics, and then an EPQ. But I was always just torn between economics and psychology. I think my family really wanted me to do economics just for kind of the financial stability and just you know, you can just go into most jobs with economics. But my psychology teacher at A-levels was incredible, and I think it makes you realise how important the teachers you have at school are, even from the very beginning.
Are you in touch with her?
I'm not. I love you, Miss Devereaux. I couldn't even find her on LinkedIn, so
Really?
I don't know where she is, but she was just the most put together individual. You know, when you see someone and you're like, I want to be you when I'm older. Just super, super sweet, but respected by everyone. Just an incredible woman. So I knew I wanted to do psychology, but obviously you want to make your family proud and do what they want you to do. But in the end, I realised I have to write a personal statement. I cannot write a personal statement about economics. There's nothing I'm that passionate about. I don't know how anyone does, to be honest. Like, I'm really impressed that you can. But no, I understand how it applies to real life, but there was just a lot more
to say with psych,
yeah, exactly. And Bath is really good for psychology as well. So no, I'm really grateful I chose psychology in the end, and it has been applicable to pretty much everything.
Psychology is grateful that you chose it.
Oh, did you ask him?
Yeah, we just had a convo in my head right now. All right, well, on that note, Charlotte, what would you say is one recommendation you'd give to the audience for how they can spread their serotonin today?
Ooh. Speak to a stranger a day. It's so simple. It creates that initial stress, but that stress gets relieved so instantly. Like, as soon as you start speaking to someone else, you realise everyone wants, or everyone craves, that connection, that community feel. Even if you're talking about, what was it the other day? I was asking a guy what the difference was between brine and seawater for tuna.
Oh, no way. At the supermarket?
Yeah. I was like, I haven't
that.
talked to anyone today. Like, I want to talk to someone. He's just dropped a can of tuna. I helped him pick it up, and I was like, oh, do you know what the difference is? Like, just literally anything that could make someone's day. It gets you out of your comfort zone, gets you out of that little mental rut, because you've got to, you know,
you do
be
have
an
to
individual.
Leave,
You've got to
push
leave.
yourself.
Yeah, you get to push yourself. And just that small action every day can literally change your life, with the opportunities that come, the changes in your mental state, just everything will change. And I just think it's the easiest thing you can do.
I love that. Speak to a stranger every day, everyone. Or speak to a stranger a day.
It can be more than one. Obviously, if they look dodgy, don't speak to them. We're taught to, you know, avoid strangers. Yeah, we're literally taught stranger danger. I think there's certain strangers who are dangerous, but at this age, you kind of are able to
tell, like, follow your gut, right?
Yeah, follow your gut.
And like, if you're in a safe space, like the supermarket.
Exactly, in a public space, ideally.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, it will change your life.
Yeah, I love that. Oh my God. Thank you so much for being a guest today.
Of course. Thank you for
I learned so
hosting.
much from this conversation, and I'm sure everyone else did too.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, we hope this gave you some serotonin. I'm sure it did. And thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye. Bisous.
Bisous.
You smell